What's up, guys? Welcome to the channel. In today's vlog, Raquel and I go to church and we kind of talk about what it's like to be in church during the pandemic. And also, I tell my life story, which is something that not everyone knows. So stick around and check that out. Huh, you're still here? Man, I thought I would have started by now. Maybe if So, we're doing something today that we literally haven't done since March. We're doing church in the age of social distancing. It's different. It's really quiet, but
Empty.
yeah, kind of empty. But I am really glad to be back. I think we're about to get started. The guy at the organ just rolled up.
Mark chapter 13, verse 32. But, red letters in my Bible, but about that day or hour no one knows. Not even the angels in heaven, nor the Son, capital S Son, but only the Father. Whoa, pause, bud. Come on, Dwight, you can't. You don't think Jesus really meant what he said. You don't think he meant that he himself, because it says it's capital S. He doesn't know the day of his return? Do you know what scholars have a big debate about that?
I just got back from church, and I know the church isn't a building, right? We are the church, and you can do church anywhere and everything, but it was really nice to be back.
It was.
It was edifying. Pastor Dwight, he slayed it. He was talking about the second coming and the uncertainty of the time, right? Because not even the Son knows when he's coming again, but the certainty that the return is happening. And man, I don't know, I needed to hear it. I was like hanging on to every word. It was really good. What did you think about the socially distant measures and things like that they put in?
I think they did a pretty good job. I was a little bit salty that there was a family that sat right next to us when there's like so many pews available. But
there was so many. Maybe like we were in like their row, because you know that like that's like a thing with church people. Sometimes they just get so used to being in a certain row. But yeah, like I had my camera bag, and like Raquel started to pick it up because they were coming. I was like, no, put that camera bag back down. Just don't let them do that.
But I mean, like, otherwise than that, I think they did an awesome job. Like, once you enter, there's hand sanitizing station. They had these signs that said reserved on every other seat, which were the signs that we could sit on, or the seats that we could sit on. So I think they did a pretty good job, and especially how they handled, like, the exit. So people sitting in the front of the church, please leave through the front. People sitting in the back, leave through the back. And then the ushers also went to every single row, and yeah.
Oh, and another thing that was weird, but I guess it makes sense, because singing, I guess, letting the air out of your mouth like that is a way to spread COVID, but only the people up front were allowed to sing, right? So, like, you could hum. So they would, let's make a joyful noise, hum in your masks or something like that, and it was kind of funny, but...
Yeah. I mean, that's probably going to be, like, the new thing from now on.
Yeah, a lot is going to change, and Pastor Dwight kind of mentioned that nothing's ever going to be the same after this. But anyway, we're home, we're going to eat, and Raquel brought it up. I think this is a good time to maybe this afternoon talk a little bit more about the vlog. I've been doing a lot of videos and things like that, but maybe you're watching, you still don't have a clear picture of why I'm doing what I'm doing, and so we'll talk about that later today. So yeah, the question of the night is, who am I and why do I do what I do? And I'll be honest with you, I don't have some crazy testimony, right, where I was like saved at the last second from something that could have taken my life, or, taken out of drugs and alcohol and all this. I don't have that. I have a mom and a dad who love me and support me. I have a mom and a dad who love each other. I have a sister who I get along with very well, and grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, everybody lives within an hour of each other. It doesn't go over my head for a second how blessed I am to have these things, because I know this isn't something that everyone grows up with. And I thank God for my family every time I think of them. And yet, here's the thing. I had all of that, but there was something still missing growing up. Probably the most important thing. And like I said, I don't have a crazy testimony, but I think that my testimony is relatable to a lot of people. My story starts at birth. My parents were Christian, and so when I was born, by default, I was Christian. And really, this never bothered me. I went to church since I was a baby, and I went to church schools all the way up through now my master's. The church was a big part of my life growing up. Over the course of my life, I have heard thousands of sermons. The people I knew always talked about prayers being answered and His presence being felt, and I thought I was doing something wrong. I thought that for some reason there was something about that connection that had been severed, and it just wasn't for me. I pored over my Bible day in and day out trying to fix this, trying to see if I could find something in the scriptures that would make it all better. I asked my dad questions, I asked pastors questions, and I even got baptized thinking that that would be the thing that brings that connection together. And yet, nothing seemed to work still. I began to feel frustrated, and then I started high school. I went to a pretty big high school as far as Christian schools are concerned. And I started making a whole bunch of new friends, and I even started dating for the first time. I had a girlfriend. Things were beginning to look up. And then she cheated on me. I left my freshman year of high school and went into that summer all kinds of broken up. And you who are older, you might look at that and be like, oh, come on, bro, you were a freshman. Like, there are other fish in the sea, blah, 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 all that stuff. But bear with me, man. That was my first real breakup. That was my first girlfriend. I didn't know how to handle heartbreak. And in that brokenness, the devil really got a hold on me, and I started to begin to let that darkness fester and grow. And I began to really question my standing with God. Those old frustrations came back in a new way, and really it was a doozy. And I can talk about that some other day in another vlog. I think it's important, but for the sake of time, I'm just gonna keep the ball rolling. So anyway, I get through that summer without really handling any of that hurt. And now it's my sophomore year. And I'm gonna be honest with you, even though I was in that darkness, I was having a really good time at school. I was with my friends, and I met another girl who I fell in love with hard. We were together a year and a half before we ended up breaking that up. And that might have been one of the most stressful years and a half of my life, because see, I really, really liked her. But I don't think the time that we were dating, I don't think she liked me as much as I liked her. And definitely her dad didn't like me. He made that very clear. But when that relationship broke up, I was super hurt. And you know the saying, hurt people hurt people? Well, in my dysfunction, I tried to get together with a friend of mine, and I really hurt her bad. By the time I realized what I had done, becoming what I disliked, it was too late, and I tried to run back to God. I knew something was wrong, but I didn't know what it was. And again, I poured myself into my Bible, into praying, into asking forgiveness, and just for Him to be here. I needed to feel that He was with me, and I was getting nothing. I was getting nowhere. Something was still missing. After I failed again, I made the decision that when high school was over, I was just gonna leave the church. I was gonna leave Christ. Because what had he ever done for me, right? Like, I needed him to be here multiple times and he just never showed up. I just didn't have that thing that I always heard people talking about. And so maybe this whole church thing, this whole Jesus thing, it just wasn't for me. And now we're going into my senior year of high school. For some reason, I was recommended to work with the chapel. And for some reason, I still can't explain, I said yes. My first responsibility working with a chaplain was to plan and facilitate small groups among my peers. And it was there in that small group that my life was forever changed. And it's because I finally realized what was missing that whole time. You see, my entire life, I had been a consumer of other people's spiritual life. But when I became the leader of this small group, I became an active participant in the ministry of Christ. And I was so far out of my comfort zone that the only thing I could do was to rely on him and to pray without ceasing, because I had no idea what I was doing. And the vulnerability and openness, oh, that broke me. I began to realize that these people that I went to school with for years, I thought they were fine. I thought I was the only one going through these weird troubles. But then I began to realize that not only were they also going through their own struggles, but they were going through things that were way worse than me. And I guess just knowing that, well, I didn't feel lonely anymore. The greatest feeling in the world was knowing that God was with us when we met. You could feel like this energy, the Holy Spirit. I fell in love with it. I fell in love with Jesus. And I made a decision that God would become my God, not just my parents' God. I had finally found that missing piece, that missing emotional connection. I found it in small group ministry. That same school year, we went to a conference, and it was at that conference that I was so overwhelmed with just love for Christ that it was weird. It almost felt like I was being hugged, like this warmth. And I started crying, and it was a release of so much, like years worth of stuff was all coming out. And at that conference, I decided, you know what, I would love to spend the rest of my life creating environments that are just like this. And so I'm praying, and I'm like, God, I don't know what that looks like, but I'll even be a pastor if you want me to. So of course I go back to school after the conference is done, and one of the chaplains approaches me, and they say to me, I've just felt impressed to tell you that you would be a great pastor if you ever decided to go down that route. And that's all it took. I went after I graduated high school, and I got my undergraduate degree in theology, and now I am here studying for my master's in divinity. And I am one semester away from fulfilling that promise. It has truly been a whirlwind. In the middle of that, I met my wife and got married, and so much happened. I have grown in so many ways. I am looking forward to continuing in that growth. And that is why I'm taking you guys along with me. Really, that's why I started this vlog. I wanted to show that pastors are normal people, but also I wanted to show people what it is that pastors do. The reality is, I have no idea. We're gonna find that out together. But I do know that organized religion in the United States, while it's still safe, is being looked at sideways more and more each day. My life is and continues to be a lot about searching. And here's the thing about searching. It often leads to discovery. And so I want to take you on this journey with me. So in trying to keep the theme of this channel, what is it that a pastor does? Well, in my experience so far, they search. So it's my prayer for you tonight that as you are on your own journey, as you are seeking, that God would open the doors to discovery in your life. Hey guys, that's it for today. Thanks for watching. I know this one was longer than usual, and so if you're one of those people who stayed all the way through, a big thank you to you. And if you're not subscribed yet, I mean, what are we talking about? You might as well, right? You watched this whole video, you must have liked something. So go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. And again, thanks for taking a few minutes out of your day to watch what I make. It means a lot. Be blessed. See you later.